Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Another milestone for the rig. We just passed 60,000 miles on the Super Ford with the Detroit 453T in it. I did one not long ago at 50,000 miles and I got a good review, so I thought I'd do the I do the pros and the cons of running a Detroit 453T daily in the modern age. I mean, the engine is 45 years old, so yeah. So Jimmy, as I fondly call him, is a 1979 Detroit diesel, and I've modified him significantly to put out more power. So in order to do that, I upgraded him to a 1990s Silver Series Detroit, and there's many benefits in doing that, and I won't go through the list of them, but more power, quieter, more fuel efficient, longer lasting, and the list goes on. And on top of that, I added larger injectors and performance camshaft, an end blower for reduced emissions and better performance, a modified turbocharger, and then a bypass for the blower as well. So I gained from all of those inefficiencies to give them about 240 horse on water meth and 210 without the water meth, what it's like. So here's the good points. I've got 10 good points, and I found 3 bad points. So and they're not necessarily in order, it's just a list of things. So the number 1 item on the list is the sound. Man, this engine is just beautiful. I'm just gonna roll this up because it's a construction site here. The engine, the sound is beautiful. I mean, if you like 2-strokes, this will not disappoint. The thing is just a harmony of sounds. With the windows rolled up and rolling down the road on the highway, doing highway speeds, honestly, you can barely hear the engine. I've picked up the pace a bit. I can't. We're doing 80 again, so. I'll put some videos in, but yeah, you don't hear it much. But when you roll the window down, wow, you get sounds of the engine, the gear train, the blower, the turbo, and all together, wow, they sound really nice. So that's item number 1. Number 2 is reliability. Again, I mentioned in the previous video that when I first put this on the road, it was a conscientious objector. It had teething issues. Whenever you take an engine that's been stored for 30 years or however many years it's been stored, you're going to run into issues. So I had my issues, and I rebuilt the engine and I fixed all the little snags in it, and yeah, for the last 50,000+ miles, fantastic. It's been really nice, not an issue. Just regular oil changes. So the third point on this list is the cost of parts. They're cheap, really cheap. I have hoarded a lot of parts. I do have an inventory of parts, but if you have to buy overhaul parts, an overhaul kit for this engine is like $1,500. I think $1,900 US. I'd have to double check. It's under $2,000 US for an overhaul kit. That includes everything. So I don't know an engine in the market right now, modern, that you could touch with a $2,000 over kit. I mean, injectors are $800 each on a modern engine, you know, so that is super cheap. Alternative fuels is item number 4. The engine loves alternative fuels. Now for me, I've only run vegetable oil in the truck. God, it runs perfect. It doesn't know if you're running vegetable oil or diesel. I've forgotten lots of times to switch it to diesel, and in the mornings looked at it and went, oh no, I forgot. And it starts just like it's on diesel. It doesn't know the difference. So that then leads me into the running costs. So item 5 is running costs. And wow, this thing is cheap. It's 1.5 cents a mile averaging city and highway driving combined. 1.5 cents. And the way I get away with that is I start and stop on diesel, and I'm only running diesel for a city block. I start a city block later, I'm on veg oil. When I come home, a city block later, I'm on diesel. So I'm only running 2 blocks on diesel a day. So it's not consuming any diesel. Jakes, wow. The Jakes are fantastic. I use them mostly in the mountains. I do use them to slow down a lot of times at lights and stuff. So I don't use the brakes at all. Hardly ever use the brakes on this truck. So expecting to get 100,000 plus miles out of the brakes. So falling under, I suppose, alternative fuels would be the smoke emissions. This engine, 0. I have tuned it for 0 smoke, and there is no smoke. Running alternative fuels, a vegetable oil especially, or biodiesel, it even makes it better. There is no smoke at all. See smoke ever, so that's a positive. I really enjoy that, because then you're not, people aren't, you know, choking behind you and, you know, giving you the middle finger and stuff. Yeah, so most people don't even know. So what? Oh, fun to drive. So item 8 is fun to drive. It's a blast driving this thing. God, it is smiles by the miles. It is just so much fun. If you're a gearhead like myself, man, it is the engine. Wow, it is fantastic. Like I said, with the blower, the turbo, the response is immediate. This thing is very responsive. Just amazing response, almost like a gas engine. So number 9 is, I guess, a subcategory of running alternative fuels, and that's being carbon neutral. This truck is essentially reducing carbon emissions by 80%. Yes, 80%. So emissions are reduced, carbon dioxide emissions and carbon emissions, the soot emissions, are reduced by burning alternative fuels. Mainly the veg oil. And then the smell. The smell. Wow, the burning veg oil, it smells like somebody cooking steaks. It's like, what? So people around me are always looking around like, what's that smell? Like, they're looking for a burger joint. And yeah, that's it. So those are the top, well, those are the 10 pluses, or pros, if you want to call it that. And under the bad or the con list is, I could only find 3 things. The sound. So although I love the sound, others don't. The volume outside this rig is a little high, I have to admit. I've put 2 mufflers on it. I'm not putting a 3rd on it, sorry, that's just not happening. So they're just gonna have to live with it. I do respect my neighbors, and I basically use idle power out of the neighborhood. So the noise levels are quite high. Jimmy is very vocal, especially when you throttle him up over 2,000 RPM. It's just, it's really loud. Even with 2 mufflers on it, it's horrendous. Inside the cab, you don't even really hear it because the sound emissions are being exited way at the back of the truck. So, yeah. Another thing under sound is the RPMs of the engine. So being a 2-stroke, it sounds like it's revving twice the speed. So if I'm in a construction zone or in a neighborhood with speed restrictions of 18 miles an hour, 30 kilometers an hour, Jimmy's running at about 1200 RPM at 30 kilometers an hour. And he sounds like he's doing 2500 RPM-ish, you know. People are doing this. They're angry at me. And I'm doing the speed limit, honey, you know. I'm doing the speed limit. So I've had a lot of flaggers go like this at me, and I'm not speeding. It's just that Jimmy sounds like he's speeding, but the vehicle's not speeding. So it throws people way off the soundtrack and whatnot. Another thing under revving is you get beside a guy in a Cummins, or especially guys in Cummins. Well, I don't know what it is with the Cummins guys. They think you're racing them. So immediately they throw their foot down. You can't see behind them with all the smoke. And I'm like, well, Jimmy's not fast. He'll do 95 miles an hour, but God, he is not off the line fast. He's only 212 cubic inch, 4-cylinder, 3.5 liters. So, and this truck weighs 9,200 pounds. So you're not going to drag race anyone. Trust me, that's not happening. Especially these new Cummins or Power Strokes or Duramaxes. Forget it. Okay. And then the 3rd con is no support. So no on-road support. So if this truck breaks while I'm on a trip like the one I just did, I did a 1,400 mile trip down to Idaho Falls. If it breaks on me, ooh, I'm in a world of hurt because nobody knows how to work on it. So if I roll this into a shop, they're like, sorry, I've never seen one. Like, so I'm on my own for repairing this vehicle if it breaks. So on a road trip, I bring a stores of parts I think may fail. They've never ever failed, but if they ever do, at least I have the parts. The list is not very long. I bring a blower with me in case, who knows, right? I've never heard of a blower going, but if it does, I've got a spare. Blower drive, the shaft and the drive itself, I bring those. And I bring a spare fuel pump and a spare injector, because you're not going to find that in any shop on the highway. So that's it, guys. That's my list of pros and cons for Jimmy. Let me I'm not gonna say let me know in the comments below, because you either love this engine or you hate it, and I love it. I'm giving an unbiased list of things, but again, I guess I'm biased because I'm the one that put the sweat and tears into this thing, building it. So super happy with it. Just rolled past the 60,000 miles. So there you have it. That's my list of pros and cons for Jimmy, as I call him. And again, guys, thanks for checking in, and we'll catch you on the next video. Take care.